is Dr. Gallagher.
Along with Dr. Simperman.
And we're here tonight to teach you a little bit about changing your diet and how those small changes over time can produce a much healthier you.
And here's a picture of us at the Standard Process Farm and Manufacturing Facilities in Palmyra, Wisconsin. We were really fortunate to be part of a group of select practitioners that were invited there for their 90-year anniversary celebration. It was really a wonderful educational experience to get to see how those products are manufactured and to visit the farm and to mingle with other doctors from all over the country. So we had a really great time, and it was a really good learning experience for the two of us. So again, we want to remind you the information presented in this program is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, illness, or health condition. The statements presented in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA, and always consult with a licensed healthcare professional before beginning any type of treatment.
So let's move on to eat healthy, be healthy, 1 degree of change, one small change at a time, in order for us to move ahead into the direction of better health.
So how would you start changing the future course of your health? Well, first thing you have to do is you have to just make the choice to start today. And if you just pick out one thing that you want to change and just do one thing first and keep repeating that day in and day out until it becomes a habit. And in this way, you just make small incremental changes gradually over a period of time. And ultimately, that's going to help you change your health and change your lifestyle and make you a healthier you, just little bits at a time.
So there are 6 key changes that we're going to look at in this program tonight. And we're going to take up each one separately. Things like removing some bad fats and replacing them with good fats, changing the type of meat, poultry, fish, and eggs that we eat, replacing and reducing refined sugars in our diet, replacing and reducing grains and flours with pseudo grains, drinking more water, and of course, adding more vegetables and fruit into our diet.
So basically, the thing you have to really keep in mind is that, these changes have to start when you go to the grocery store. So just remember, if you don't buy it, you're not going to bring it home and eat it. So you really want to try to avoid packaged processed foods. They have usually a lot of additives and are highly refined. So these are a good thing to stay away from. If you have to buy some packaged food, it should have 5 ingredients or less. And you really want to gravitate towards whole foods in their original forms, fresh meats, vegetables, things of this nature that are not packaged and haven't been refined. And we're going to get more into this and give you some more guidelines and suggestions as we go along.
So first of all, we want to talk about removing the bad fats and replacing them with good fats. The big myth that we need to bust right now is knowing that healthy fats do not make us fat and that low fat does equal high sugar. So we know that our brain is 60% fat. Fats are essential for proper brain function, building healthy cell membranes, proper blood clotting, absorbing our fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, protecting vital organs for healthy skin, part of the central nervous system, healthy eyesight. And so we also know that low-fat food is going to be very high processed and is not healthy. It's going to have more sugar. So eating healthy fats does not make us fat, and avoiding any type of processed fat like trans fat, that is really what we want to do. Any kind of canola oil, processed oils, which are highly and have high toxins, and they're produced with heavy metals and high heat. So we're trying to avoid those things in our diet and replace them with good fats and oils. And you can remember this by using the acronym, Dr. C.
Bacon. Yes, bacon. The B stands for butter or ghee, which is clarified butter, and the A, avocado or avocado oil. The C would be coconut oil, coconut cream, coconut milk. If you're using those, you want to make sure they're unrefined, unsweetened, and full fat. O would be olive oil, or if you like olives, you could eat olives as long as they're packaged in plain water or natural vinegar and preservative free. And the N would be nuts, and you could eat raw nuts, or you could, we like to get nuts and dry roast them ourselves with a little sea salt, or, you know, certain nuts can be made into flours as well, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But here's the acronym you want when you're thinking of good fats. Just think of bacon.
So changing the meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy that we eat. So we know that, keep in mind that current agricultural practices use many compounds that are best to avoid. Grain-fed animals accumulate a lot of commercial pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics, and hormones that are far higher than what we would receive if we ate these products, animal-free products of hormones, animal hormone-free, organic vegetables, etc. So consuming animals from these sources puts us at risk if we're using commercial practices in agriculture, and puts a burden on our metabolism, and it's best to eliminate those types of foods and add better protein sources in. Ideal protein sources.
So ideal protein choices. We talked a little bit about protein, grass-fed beef, free-range organic poultry, organic eggs from free-range chicken. You know, wild game is good. Birds, venison, elk, bear. We mentioned nuts previously. Cold water fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, mahi-mahi. You want to avoid farm-raised or Atlantic fish whenever possible, because those are more contaminated. Hard cheeses, especially if they're made from organic milk. So those are some good protein choices. And don't forget about the whey protein. This is a great way to supplement your protein intake. And it's also very outstanding to put in your protein shakes or smoothies.
So replacing and reducing refined sugars in your diet. We know that overconsumption of sugar has been linked to numerous health issues, including diabetes, obesity, and chronic diseases. Reducing these sugars should become a high priority for you during changing your diet. Okay, so another thing we need to be aware of when we're reading our labels is if a product has high fructose corn syrup, it is highly processed. High fructose corn syrup has been known to create fatty liver disease, which is a precancerous condition of the liver. So we really want to read our labels and avoid high fructose corn syrup. We also know that when we read our labels, the sugar content is listed in grams. We want to be sure that we know that the conversion of about 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon, and then you can really see how much sugar is in your serving size by using this conversion.
So some good sugar substitutes, if you need a little sweet stuff, would be stevia. Stevia, we know, is a South American shrub, and it's 300 times sweeter than cane sugar or sucrose. Now, some people say that they don't like the way it tastes, so it can be an acquired taste for some people, but you really have to remember it's not absorbed through the digestive tract, so it has absolutely 0 calories. So it comes in many forms, liquid extract to dried leaf to powdered extract, but you have to be really careful when you're buying it. Buy only the whole leaf stevia. that is not processed with chemicals and that has no added ingredients like dextrose. Local unprocessed honey can also be a good sweetener for beverages and baking. Dates, bananas, and monk fruit also work well if you're baking. And keep in mind, these are natural sugars, but you still don't want to overdo them. So just remember that. A little is good, more is not necessarily better.
So why would we want to dump grains out of our diet? Why should we get rid of them? So we know many grains are now processed, which reduces their nutritional value. A lot of times the grain is stripped of that nutritional value, the germ of the grain, and then a lot of the phytonutrients and things that are really good for you are pulled out of that. We also know that sometimes it's bleached and sometimes they also spray back vitamins. And you can note that when you look at a label because you'll see the ingredient list and you'll see vitamins listed separately under the ingredients, not on the nutrition content. So that's important. We also know that many people have trouble with digestion of grains. So, if you take some grains out of your diet and you feel better digestively, you're one of those people. Some people have gluten intolerance. Some people have autoimmune conditions from gluten. So that would be another reason to possibly take some of the glutinous grains out of your diet and try to see how you feel. And a majority of these grains are associated with inflammation throughout the body, and that's detrimental to the whole entire process of your health. We also have been exposed to grains that are genetically modified, mostly corn and soy. Almost every corn and soy crop in the U.S. has genetic modification, which means that something is inserted into the DNA of that grain to change its health. That grain is then maybe has some pesticides in it or something done to it. Also, I think the most important thing that we get out of this is overeating grains increases your insulin level and makes you have insulin resistance or insulin sensitivity, which doesn't allow you to use insulin, and that leads to diabetes, prediabetes, and weight gain and weight loss resistance. Very important point.
So the grains we want to avoid would be at the top of the list: wheat and corn or popcorn. Again, as Dr. Gallagher mentioned, these are highly genetically modified grains, and they do cause inflammation, increase your inflammation. We have rye, barley, oats, white rice, sorghum, and bulgur or cracked wheats. So, your oats and your white rice have a very high glycemic index, which means they're going to elevate your blood sugar. So you want to go, lightly on those. The others, with the exception of corn, contain gluten and are oftentimes genetically modified. So you want to just, be careful with the grains. You don't want to overdo it. And I think some people are better off if they try to eliminate them for the most part.
So here we have some alternative to grains or pseudo-grains. Pseudo-grains can be seeds and grasses, and we commonly classify them as grains, but they're truly not grains. They do not contain gluten. They are superfoods that have high protein, fiber, and lower glycemic index scale than your typical grains. And they can be added into your diet and made into flours. You can also choose things like almond flour, nut flours, and coconut flour if you're trying to make some sort of bread or cake or crackers. And that would be something that you can use in place of some of those grains that we want to avoid.
So let's talk a little bit about your carbohydrates. Basically two types: your simple carbohydrates and your complex carbohydrates. Now, the simple carbohydrates are easily and generally very rapidly converted to blood sugar or glucose. Your body's going to burn these for quick energy, and this sometimes can lead to, drops in mood, sluggishness, and, inability to focus. So keep in mind, any excess of simple carbohydrates that you eat that your body doesn't immediately use is going to be stored as fat. So some examples of foods containing simple carbs, usually processed foods like pasta, white rice, and sugary type drinks. Then we have our complex carbohydrates, and these tend to be more slowly digested, and they contain more fiber, both soluble and insoluble. And examples of these types of foods are sweet potatoes, carrots, apples, along with, a lot of assorted fruits and vegetables. Now, I mentioned fiber. There's two types, soluble and insoluble. So the insoluble fiber is going to sort of add bulk to your diet. These fibers don't dissolve in water, so they pass through your gut relatively intact. They sort of speed up and push food and waste through your gut. Sources of insoluble fiber come from foods like zucchini, celery, broccoli, cabbage, your dark green leafy vegetables. And then there's your soluble fiber. And these are really important as well because they help support normal insulin levels. If your insulin levels are already in a healthy, normal range, it's going to help support and maintain that. And they help to make you feel full. And they do also absorb toxins in your gut. So these are good for you. They come from like apples, oranges, pears, strawberries, nuts, flax, blueberries, carrots. So those are some sources. So, these are all, the fiber is an important part. I want you to have a little better understanding of the two types and what they do in your body.
So what about eggs? So are you having a hard time deciphering what the egg carton is trying to tell you and which one is better for you or your family? It can be quite challenging. And the labels can range from organic to cage-free to animal welfare approved, and it's hard to know which is best for you. So what I want to say is you have to understand what the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, is trying to say with their guidelines. So organic eggs and chicken must be cage-free with the ability to go outside with the right amount of no time. There is absolutely no amount of time outside defined, but those chickens cannot have any kind of antibiotics, must be fed organic feed, vegetarian food, and they must contain the USDA organic seal in order for them to be an official organic egg. Okay, they are backed by the regulations, and these are the best eggs to buy in the store. You're going to see things like free range and cage free and certified humane and animal welfare approved. However, those are not a certifiable label on your egg carton. So be aware of that. There is nobody governing that at this point. It's not a certifiable. Also be aware of other unregulated items that you can see on that egg carton, which say natural or naturally raised, no hormones, and no antibiotics. Organic is the only one that is certified. So if you're going to spend money on the eggs, you want to make sure you get certified organic eggs. And also, talking about eggs, we have a few cholesterol myths to bust.
I guess one of those was that eating eggs isn't really good for you, and that nothing could be further than the truth as long as you're eating good eggs. And I really think, Dr. Gallagher and I highly recommend that you pick this book up and you read it. And maybe you want to read it twice because, a lot of the information that's been put out there about cholesterol just is really misinformation. So, you have to be careful about where you get your data from. So, cholesterol is really an alcohol, even though it doesn't behave like one, and it's not really a fat. In your body, it's produced by the liver, okay? And it's needed for a lot of vital functions in your body, such as the breakdown of fat, the cell membranes, the integrity of your blood vessels. It's necessary, a necessary part of making bile and vitamin D. It's essential for healthy brain function and nerve function. And it's a precursor from which all your hormones in your body are made from cholesterol. So, the body needs about 2,000 milligrams a day, and the average American only gets between 300 to 500 milligrams per day from their diet. So what does this tell you? That most of it is produced by the liver, and maybe 15 to 20% is obtained from dietary sources. So this is something that you really need to be aware of. So, your dietary cholesterol intake really doesn't always have a big influence on your total cholesterol.
Exactly. Except, of course, if you're eating very, very bad fats, and we talked about adding in some good fats.
And that could affect your triglycerides as well.
So, do you drink enough water? Do you drink 1/2 your body weight in ounces daily? I hear this every day. I don't really like water, or I didn't drink enough water, or I forgot to drink water. So really think about drinking water, because one of the most common symptoms of dehydration is feeling tired, especially in the afternoon. And most people will go for caffeine or sugar at that point when they really should be drinking water. That's usually a sign of dehydration. And so if you're drinking more water instead, it's going to make you feel better. It's going to help you focus, feel less fatigue, have cleaning your liver, cleaning your kidneys up, supporting your skin, and increasing your ability to concentrate and focus, keeps our cells hydrated, maintain a healthy balance of body fluids, supports your digestion and bowel movement. And again, drink 1/2 your body weight in ounces daily. You can add some citrus fruit to that, and that would be a great thing to drink.
So what about vegetables and fruit? Well, you should have at least 2 different types of fruit daily and 6 different types of vegetables. Now, I know you're thinking, how am I going to eat 6 different types of vegetables? Well, that's a challenge, but at least keep in mind 3-to-1 ratio, vegetables to fruit. And if you don't like vegetables, and we hear this a lot also in our practice, I'm just surprised to find how many people don't like vegetables. We have some other alternatives for you to get your greens and to benefit from the phytonutrients that are contained in all these vegetables, even if you can't eat 6 different ones every day.
So what did you get from this? Did anybody get something that they could actually start to work on? Something that you can change, little things that you can change. So here's a little guideline. So we want to skip desserts. We want to pass on the bread or use pseudo grains in place of that if you want to have bread, crackers, cakes, muffins. You want to gradually reduce your soda pop intake because of the sugar content and other harmful products that are in that. We want to gradually reduce the sugar in our coffee, tea, and or substitute with stevia. We definitely want to take out all the cookies and candies, especially between meal snacks, and replace them with fruit, nuts, or cheese. And most importantly, keeping a food intake journal helps you to evaluate on a daily basis, on a meal-to-meal basis, if you've eaten enough of the right foods, if you've eaten the foods that you should be pulling out and taking away from your diet, and also showing you how much water you drank that day. So I hope that you keep a food intake journal. We have them at the office if you would like them. We have a big pad of those so you can get one the next time you come in, or several of those. So hopefully you will at least start journaling what you're eating, increasing your water, and starting to reduce your sugar and grains. So hopefully those are the things that we're going to work on. And I want to also say, for those of you who do not want to eat your vegetables, my phrase is, either you eat it or you need to take it. So let's talk about some things we can do for vegetable replacements.
Well, yes, here's one of them, and this one works really well, and it comes in chocolate too. So that's one of my favorites, and I usually use this as a supplement to my regular healthy diet. It's called SP Complete. It contains Brussels sprouts, kale, and alfalfa, along with buckwheat. So I get a lot of the benefits from the phytonutrients in those grains. But again, even though Dr. Gallagher and I eat a lot of vegetables, sometimes we just don't have 6 different ones every day. So using this as an adjunct in my protein shakes, I get a lot of amino acids. I get some immune support, antioxidants, help support healthy liver function and toxin elimination. And it also has some whey protein in there, and I usually just add a little more of that to it. And so this is a good way to add some vital nutrients to your diet. And you can also use this, and we do use it as part of the different purification programs that we offer our patients in our office. So this is something great if you want to get some extra greens, and they don't really taste like greens because it comes in chocolate and vanilla as well as plain.
So again, if you don't want to do a shake or that just seems overwhelming for you, you can always take SP Green Food, just like it sounds. And SP Green Food has a multitude of really high, dense nutrient greens in them. It has buckwheat, Brussels sprouts, kale, barley juice, and alfalfa sprout powder. This is going to help your body, your cells to function overall better. It's going to help promote the healthy liver function. It will support cholesterol metabolism and help maintain cholesterol levels already within a normal range. And I can tell you, when our son went away to college, he said, "Mom, I'm not going to eat any vegetables, so I'm just going to take 5 SP Green Food every day." So do you need to take 5 a day? Well, you might if you're not eating any vegetables, but this is a great alternative. If you're not going to eat them, then you can take them.
And here's another one. If you don't want to eat it, you can take it. This is a good source of dark green, leafy, cruciferous vegetables, kale, Brussels sprouts. Again, going to help support healthy liver function, provide antioxidant activity, and just give you a lot of great phytonutrients and help support your liver's natural phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification processes. So again, just something else that you can take if you don't feel like you can eat enough vegetables every day. There's 3 good ways to supplement your vegetable intake with nutrient-dense supplements derived from organic vegetables.
So remember, you are what you eat, and you can change your health and your life just 1 degree at a time by using food. Food is medicine, and we always want to let you know that. You have a lot of control over that. We hope that this program had you take a look back and decide that you were going to try to change some of the things in your diet, whether it just be adding more water, more vegetables, or taking one of the supplements that we talked about. So we really would hope that you would, try some of these things to change that, improve your health. And we want to thank you for listening. We always have a thank you special for those of you who have taken the time to learn about your health and try to make some good, healthy changes to your lifestyle. So on any of our products that we spoke about tonight, the SP Complete, which is chocolate vanilla, dairy-free, and plain, the green SP Green Food and Cruciferous Complete, we offer you 15% off until the end of the month of May. And we hope that you take advantage of that. You just have to call the office to make an order. If we have them in stock, you can get them right away. Otherwise, we'll order those for you. And then I also want to let you know about another adjunct to this course that we just gave you. It's called Reading Labels for Better Health. And that gets really in-depth in label reading and helps you to decide which foods to buy when you're looking at some packaged foods. And that's on May 28th, 6:30 p.m., again, via our website. And I hope that you enjoyed this program. I hope you will join us for the future programs that we have. And be well. Thank you.